there with the cordless mic, and we'll take you one at a time. If you just kind of line up there, and that way nobody's going to be jumping up, shouting, or we'll have some sort of a protocol so everybody gets a chance. Most of you are already familiar with our guest this evening, but for the record, State Senator Jabbo Wagner of Vestavia Hills is a Republican and the Senate Minority Leader. He represents Senate District 16 in Jefferson and Shelby counties. Senator Wagner has been a state senator for 5 terms, 20 years. Do I have that right, Jabbo? And before that, he was a state representative from 1966 to 1983. He has the longest record of service of any state legislator ever elected from Jefferson County. And by the way, he's also in the Birmingham Southern Sports Hall of Fame as a feisty point guard back in the day. State Senator Scott Beeson of Gardendale, a name which I think over the last few days you've become very familiar with, is also a Republican. He represents State Senate District 17, which includes parts of Blount, Jefferson, and St. Clair counties. Senator Beeson served 2 terms as a state representative, and this is his first term as a state senator, going for number 2. Gentlemen, we welcome you tonight. Both of you received us cordially when the Rainy Day Patriots went to Montgomery earlier this year to 2 rallies to voice concerns about key issues during the last legislative session. We were told at the time that you welcomed and needed our support to get those issues dealt with. So we have taken you both at your word and invited you here tonight to hear again about those same issues and others besides. The Republican Party in Alabama is making a very strong effort to change the majority in Montgomery for the 2011 legislative session. We are given to understand that in the Senate you may be very close to that goal, and that significant gains may also be possible in the State House. We're going to give each of you 10 minutes to explain how you see that shift actually coming to pass in November. And if in fact it occurs, what changes a Republican majority intends to make in the way Alabama is currently governed. We would also like to hear how you think the Tea Party movement and the people in this room can perhaps help that change come about. When we open the floor to questions, you can expect to hear concerns about redistricting, ethics, political contributions, illegal immigration, the 10th Amendment, opt-out legislation pertaining to the new federal health care law, taxes, and probably a whole lot more. You can also expect skepticism, even some cynicism, about the system and the process. Tea Party members feel quite honestly that we've been lied to repeatedly by politicians of both parties. And so many,
we feel that way too.
I'm sure you do. If I can judge by any of the news in the past few days, and too many who seem to quickly forget who sent them and why. So we'll be listening carefully, Senators, and what you tell us here tonight, we will remember after November 2nd. Gentlemen, if you would be so kind as to come up here, you're free to sit, move, whatever. We have a cord mic or a cordless mic. You can do as you choose. There you are. We'll start off with you, Senator Wagner, and you've got about 10 minutes to explain, and then we'll pass it over to your colleague.
Thanks, Steve. I'll be glad to talk for a few minutes, and any of your questions you can address to Scott. I'm pulling seniority, okay? I'm honored to be here, I really am. I want to thank this group, not only locally, statewide and nationally, for what y'all have done. I support what you've done. I think y'all have done more to cleanse both parties than any group ever in the history of this country, at least in my lifetime. So I want to thank you for what you've done. I bonded with Steve over the years when he was with a radio station, and he and I could talk on the record, off the record, and he never did me wrong on the radio station, and I've appreciated this guy for a long time, and we've had coffee a couple of times recently, and he asked me if I would come meet with y'all, and said, sure, I'll be honored. Of course I will. He asked us to talk about the makeup of the legislature and how it could change. 1 month from yesterday is the election, so we have 4 weeks. Let me comment on what happened yesterday with the indictments and how I feel like that will impact the election. There were 11 people, 4 senators, some lobbyists, some business people, Milton McGregor, total of 11 people. I think that's just the beginning. There's more to come. This is widespread. It's run deep. I first knew how serious it was in April. I was over in the Capitol. We were in recess, and I'd taken the Hoover High School football team over to the Capitol to tour them around the Capitol, introduce them to the governor, have a picture made with the governor, and my cell phone rang. And it was Colonel Chris Murphy, who's head of the Department of Public Safety. He said, Senator, can you come over to my office? The FBI would like to talk to you.
And you're still here.
And I said, Chris, what's this about? He says, oh no, I didn't mean to scare you. There are other people invited too. So I left the Hoover High School football team and went straight over to the colonel's office. And the Speaker of the House, the Lieutenant Governor, the Majority Leader of the House, Minority Leader in the House, Majority Leader in the Senate, and myself as Minority Leader in the Senate. 6 of us. And in walks 5 well-dressed men and 1 lady. And they introduced themselves, 4 of whom were from Washington out of the Justice Department. And they didn't ask us to sit down or get comfortable. I mean, we could tell they weren't there to tell jokes, okay? The opening comment was by one of the FBI agents from Washington. He said, gentlemen, we have substantial evidence that there has been public corruption involved in this gambling issue. We had heard the rumors in Montgomery about, money changing hands and payoffs, but I knew then it was serious. They said we have substantial evidence, and it's an ongoing investigation. So, and I think I've heard since then, it's been going on 19 months. Scott, I don't know if you've heard that, but it's been going on a long time. Well, it came to a head yesterday. How will that impact the election? There's 4 senators, one of whom has no opposition, Quentin Ross in Montgomery. So he's just indicted, he's not convicted, so he will be on the ballot. 3 other seats, Larry Maines from Gardendale, not Gardendale, you're from Gardendale, Etowah County, Gaston, Atala. He's got very competitive Republican opposition, a guy named Phil Williams, who's a very solid Christian guy, some military background. I really don't know the demographics or the dynamics of that district, but that could be a pickup for the Republicans. Jim Pruitt, who's a lifelong Democrat, and he changed parties, was it the last day of the session?
The last day of qualifying, April.
The last day of the qualifying. Late, anyhow. His district, Talladega, Silicaca, Coosa County. He decided not to run, and now we know why. Since he was indicted. But we have a very good candidate, a guy named Ray Robbins. He owns a foundry in Talladega, very wealthy. He's working hard. And here again, I don't know the demographics that well, but we need Ray Robbins to win, okay? Down in Dothan, Harry Ann Smith was a Republican. She was defeated in a primary for Congress by Jay Love. Then, after she was defeated, she decided to support Bobby Bryant, the Democratic nominee, and after that, she qualified to run as Republican, and the party would not let her qualify, so she's running as an independent. She has a guy named George Flowers, who's from the Flowers Hospital people down in Dothan, very wealthy family. He's working hard. I don't know how these indictments will impact those races. Maybe Scott has some ideas, but I think the Republican candidate probably became stronger yesterday in those 3 districts. This year is not a really good year to run as an incumbent, especially when you have an indictment hanging over your head. In the Senate, we have 14 Republicans out of 35 state senators. November the 2nd, we need a net gain of 4. We need 18 to be in the majority, and I'll tell you in a minute why that is important. In the House, there's 45 Republicans out of 105. They need a gain of 8. You need 53 in the House to become the majority. In the Senate, the way it has been for 136 years, and I'm going to address the last 4 years, the Democrats control every committee. They are chairman of every committee. I mean, every major committee, every minor committee, they are the chairman. They have a majority on every committee, and that's probably true in the House